Hello and welcome to another video. So for this video, I'm trying this glitch sort of an effect for January 3rd with the prompt glitch. Unlike the other previous videos, for this videos, I'm going to try something different and start out with like an open mind and try to kind of develop the idea as it goes. So let's get started. So first, as always, let's drop in our main loop followed by our basic setup, a sequence op and a bunch of image compose and draw image ops. So this video is primarily dealing with images. The idea is to take an image and kind of apply different sort of glitch effects to that image. So we'll start off with like three image compose and draw image ops and have a full screen rectangle and connect the input output ports. First block of image and draw image is to kind of receive some image which we will get from Unsplash. For this effect I can use anything, literally any image, but I will search for some sort of like a Greek not this Greek statue sort of an image, as they have very sculpted figures, so it looks very cool. So just will pick like a bunch of images from this and get started with it. I think this first one looks kind of nice. It has like a sculpted hands and like a nice look. And then we can also try like something else. So we'll try with like a bunch of images so that we can test out the same glitch effect across a diverse range of images, so that later if we want to apply it to something else, then also it should work relatively fine. So once we have these three images, then we'll just open the images up and kind of load them, drag and drop them into the batch. And once they are loaded, we'll just hook up a texture op to draw image, and we will select our primary texture as one of the images. So for this video you can kind of select any image to get started with, whatever you think works for you. The next part is to kind of fix the aspect ratio so that the image looks kind of nice in our viewport. We'll just fix the aspect ratio and kind of see how it looks like in full screen view and then proceed. So this first block is to kind of set up the image. The second block is to kind of apply our primary glitching effects. So there is an op called glitch noise and we'll get started with that. So what this glitch noise operator does is that it applies some sort of like a glitching effects on the basis of a seed value, and you can control the different parameters like frequency, strength, block sizes and scrolls to kind of get like a desired effect. So once you are like okay with the kind of glitch effect you want, you can proceed and explore the blending modes, kind of have some primary sort of glitching going on. Then let's add a pixel displacement and connect it to our initial image to displace uh, the image according to our initial sort of image. This is more of like an exploration, experimentation sort of a video. So we'll just go along and see how it works out, explore different modes and stuff. Then we'll add another glitch to kind of, so the primary one was like for the vertical lines that you see. The second one is for a more of like a horizontal kind of a glitch. I think this sort of works for the kind of aesthetic that we are trying to develop here. So the problem is like there are like a lot of blacked out blocks in this. We'll try to kind of get rid of those in like a later stage, but primarily we want to have like some sort of like a glitchy aesthetic going on. We'll drop in another draw image and hook it up to our initial image to kind of have like the image and then change the blending mode again to superimpose our glitch effects and the initial image, and then pixel displays the output once again. We'll add in an image snapshot because we would like to kind of have the output of whatever was done previously to kind of glitch out our initial image and see what works best for this particular kind of aesthetic that we are going for. I think exclusion kind of works nicely. It looks super glitched out. Play around with the values of seed to check out how it looks like when it starts glitching. And then we are going to add a timer and some random numbers to kind of animate the glitchy effects. We are going to add different random numbers to the different seeds to kind of have like something going on here, which is like very glitchy. It looks too glitchy for my taste, so I'll just reduce the speed a bit and pause it there for a sec. So yeah, we have some sort of like a glitch going on here, and like it's time to control it a bit more. We'll test it out with our other images to see how they react to the glitch. So currently the problem is that it completely glitches out the initial image. So uh, it's very hard to discern what the initial image was. We want to bring back some of the features from the initial image. So let's drop in a couple of fixed texture operators. What fixed texture does is like it can take the output from any texture ports and display it whatever value is being stored. So you can see like how your image is coming out to be when you're experimenting, which is quite like a handy op. Then let's add another image compose. So what I want to do here is that I want to kind of take the initial image that we feed into the system and have like sort of an edge detection thing going on, and then kind of have like a feedback from this thing and superimpose it with our output so that the initial features kind of remain there um, along with the glitchy effects. We'll control the edge detection parameters a bit to have like a more subtle effect because we don't want all of the lines from all of the features. It's kind of invisible right now, but I want like a bit more kind of features. So we'll just use some other blending modes to see if they work or not. And superimpose the initial image once again. So you can see how layering different sorts of images and applying different blending modes kind of have different kinds of effects on the initial image, initial output. Just go with something that you think works because ultimately we will be desaturating it all and like applying our color map to colorize the entire thing. So we want to have something that has both the features of the original image as well as like the glitchy effects. Will also kind of drag out the output texture outputs from the other image composed to kind of have like a sense of how things are going so far. So let's add in like a blur and sharpen and feed it back as a feedback loop to kind of have these reaction diffusion sort of like an effect going on top of the image, but it's a bit too strong in this case. So I'll just play around with the amount and the blend modes to see if it works or not. Also the same with the blur amount and kind of test out different values to see if it works or not. So we'll also add another draw image in lighten mode and kind of attach it to our previous image compose to kind of have like another feedback loop going on, and change the amount of the other ones to kind of have some effect. Switch on the timer and let it play and see what we have so far. So it's glitchy, but it's fairly kind of, most of it is washed out and everything looks like a pixel, which is not good. So let's see what to do. Let's change the amount of sharpen and blur again. And displace it again. So this time we'll take the displacement texture from the image compose snapshot that we had put in earlier to kind of have like this data moshing sort of an effect going on, and control the X and Y amount a little bit to have like a slight displacement, and then tweak the block sizes a bit. And desaturate everything so that it's like a black and white image followed by a color map. Yeah, that. Then add like a color palette. That looks good enough. Looks scary. So let's see. We'll add, we want to control this entire thing using like a mouse. So we'll just drop in a mouse op. Then we want to control the timer play pause using the mouse. So we'll drop a trigger bool op. So every time I trigger, the bool value changes. And then we are going to add this thing to a bool to number op to kind of get like 0, 1 values and then hook it to the timer. So what happens is every time I left click the patch, it starts glitching, and every time I left click it again, then it then stops. So let's also try to kind of change the color using the same trigger. So we can use a map range operator because the color palette ranges from 0 to 1000. So hook it together and then we can like choose a color. So every time I click, the color also changes along with the on off thingy for the timer, but that is not something we want. we want it to be like a separate sort of a toggle. So we'll copy paste this entire thing and hook it up to the right mouse button, and then use a random number to kind of drive this. So every time I right click it, then I have like a different color, and every time I left click this patch, I get the play pause action. I think it becomes a bit too random, so I will just select a color from before and then use the left click to kind of toggle the animation, glitchy animation on and off. Yeah, that looks quite intense. So we'll test it out with the other images that we had. Looks good. Not bad. Oh, that looks nice. So I guess there is like no limit to how many times you want to feed it back to the initial source and kind of, have it glitching all over itself. It's quite epileptic, if I might add. Please, I think I should have added like a disclaimer earlier. But yeah, this is sort of like the kind of glitchy feeling that I was going for. We can change the colors again to sort of have something that we might like to go along with, and play it to see how it glitches out. So the best part is now you can kind of add in any image instead of these three templatey images to kind of see how the same effect kind of glitches out any picture that you might want. And I guess that's about it. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Bye bye.